All right, what up, everybody? What up, everybody? I am at the spot. See, I'm kind of expressing my inner flash. All right, this is Plan Your Greatness. I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. Let's get right to it. Awareness. Who shot JR? Now, some of you are probably thinking, what is he talking about? Is he talking about that old 1970s show, Dynasty, where the big oil tycoon, cattle rancher, J.R. Ewing was shot? No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about our modern day JR, which is Earl Joseph J.R. Smith, or affectionately just known as J.R. Smith, NBA basketball player, currently with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was recently LeBron's teammate. Now, if you've been under a rock past 6 months, you may not know that LeBron is now in LA. Okay, so they're no longer teammates. But I wanted to share something with you guys now that football season is kicked in. It is now the season opener of the NBA season. And I wanted to revisit something because I think this was not given the proper attention. Because again, think in terms of what the theme is. Awareness, 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 awareness. All right, so let's go back in time, back to the NBA Finals, Game 1. LeBron is having this phenomenal game. They're trying to steal Game 1, and they get down to the very end. LeBron has just had a phenomenal game, 51 points. I mean, he's doing everything, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are clearly overmatched, have a chance to win the game. LeBron has the ball, passes it to one of his teammates. That teammate gets fouled. He's on the line. They're down 4.3 seconds left. He's on the line to tie the game and possibly go ahead because they're down by 1 and he's got 2 shots. George Hill, his point guard, hits the first one. Second one, clangs it off the front. Who grabs the rebound? It wasn't LeBron. It was J.R. Smith. And J.R., nobody was around him. J.R. had enough time to come down, go right back up, shoot an uncontested shot, make it or miss it. That would have been great. But no, JR dribbles the ball all the way out to the three-point line, almost right next to LeBron. And LeBron is looking at him like, what are you doing? Okay, pass me the ball. No, shoot it. Oh, and he just throws up a shot and doesn't go in. And so now they go to overtime. Clearly, they're devastated because they had a chance. George Hill, had he made them 2 shots, I wouldn't be making this video. Okay, he would have made them 2 shots. We would have went on. I don't know what would have happened in the series, but I wouldn't be making this video about this particular topic. All right. So because he missed that, then now it fell down to JR. JR, bonehead play. All right. So now let's move along. We're going to come back to JR and we're going to find out who shot JR. All right. So Phil Jackson often said that how you practice is how you play. And he was adamant about telling all his players because of one specific player he never had to tell, and that was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan practiced at such a high level that he got so upset in practice that he punched one of his teammates. Okay? In football, Tom Brady is legendarily known to be so intense in practice. If things don't go right, he'll throw equipment, he'll kick balls. Jerry Rice is legendarily known that every time he caught a pass in practice, he ran it all the way to the end zone, regardless on wherever they were. They could have been down at the 10-yard line. He would have ran it 90 yards, and because he told himself that every time he touched the ball, it ended up in the end zone. That's the mentality he wanted to have. And in baseball, Tony Gwynn was the first player to start watching videotape of all the pitchers that pitched him. He saw the sequences. He saw how he approached their hitting, their pitching, so he would know what to do in future situations. What I'm getting at is these guys were obsessed with practice. Unlike Allen Iverson's rant where he said famously, "We talking about practice? Practice? We talking about practice." Okay? So, as Aristotle said, your excellence isn't an act, it is a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. All right. So in my life, I look at it this way. I say talent does not make you aware. Clearly, it did not make JR aware. Talent just didn't make these Michael, Tom Brady, Jerry Rice, Tony Gwynn, didn't make them aware. You could see that they were working at their mind. And so they were building this awareness. All right. I believe that talent is a what? It's not a why. Okay, because why provides focus and it provides discipline. When you know why you're doing something and that emotion gets going, you will become focused. You will become disciplined because now you said, I must do that. It's not a should anymore. It's I must do that. All right. Why typically comes after this awakening, this awareness of something that you must do. All right. And then the awareness comes with the recognition that there is something that you need to do. It is said 50% of solving a problem is the recognition of the problem. I firmly agree. You cannot get to solving something until you know exactly what that is you need to solve. Now, I don't know if it's actually 50%, could be more, could be less. But as far as getting the motivation and the engine going, you must know what it is, what that problem is, awareness before you can actually solve it. Now, everybody in here has had some sort of, anybody who's an adult has had some sort of American history. And that history crossed over into where you were talking about African American history. And usually, sadly, African American history always started with slavery. All right. So in slavery, they always tell the story of how Harriet Tubman took slaves to freedom. And it is alleged that she helped over 1,000 people go to freedom. All right. So in her last days, there was a biographer. He wanted to interview her and get a little bit of sense of her life and her accomplishment, this great woman. And so he asked her, he said, Miss Tubman, it is said that you helped over 1,000 people to freedom. So how does that make you feel? And Miss Tubman said, I'd have freed more if they had known they were slaves. Awareness. All right. So who shot JR? Now, before we get to that, let's take a little journey. Let's see what really happened like before that event. J.R. Smith has carved himself out a nice career in the NBA. He's going to walk away with hundreds of millions of dollars of money that he's made. Now, I don't know how much he saved because it is documented that he kind of lived very frivolously and said some things. And so, but the things that actually were known to us that he was doing was, one coach labeled him as having very poor decision-making skills. Okay. One other coach, or no, not other coach, he was involved in a nightclub incident. He was suspended, I think, and fined for elbowing on 2 occasions players. He was suspended for violating the league's drug policy. He was suspended and fined for tying players' shoes during a game. Tying people's shoes? Who does that? I didn't even do that in the 5th or 6th grade when I was playing ball. He was fined and suspended for throwing soup on a coach. And he was fined and suspended for leaving the court during a game to go shake hands with the player on the other bench while they threw the ball to his player and that player scored. All right, so here's what we need to realize when all that stuff in the context is put together. JR did exactly what he's always done, which everything that I listed, you know, I'm not hating, I'm not just piling stuff on. It is obvious that JR has never been a player that's been very self-aware or aware of where he is and where he's going, what he's doing. All right. So now let's look at this. In the 3 major sports, football, baseball, basketball, it is imperative. Every coach will tell you, know the situation. Okay. And in football, you must know the down, you must know the distance, and you must know the time. Okay. And you could even add into that the score. All right. Baseball, you must know the outs, you must know the score, and you must know the count. Because if you change anything, if it's a tie ball game or 1-run ball game or a 3-2 count or a 2-0 count or, as far as 2 outs or 1 out, it completely changes the situation. Okay. Now, in basketball, you must know where the ball is, what the score is, and what the time is. Now, it's obvious that JR knew the time because once he got the rebound, he tried to kill the clock. So he knew the time. JR knew where the ball was. He knew he was at the free throw line, as far as lining up free throws. He knew the ball shot. He was in the right place because he got the ball, but he didn't know the score. All right. So when you know the situation, you can plan your attack, offense or defense, or look like JR. Okay. The other thing is this very much is on the same level of life. Because in order for you to be aware, you must know where you have been. You must know where you're at right now or why you're here. And you must know where you're going. Because when you know those things, you can plan your greatness. All right. This is Plan Your Greatness. And I will say this again. Which camera? Which camera? Okay. Still over here. Still over here. Over here. Plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see y'all next time.